Hey everybody, it's your girl Nell, and welcome to another episode of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here in my junky tiny studio. I know I need to clean it up, but today is Tuesday. I am not cleaning up anything. I really do not do master cleaning until like Wednesday, but today is Tuesday. I'm not cleaning anything. I'm drinking some red clover tea today out of my hubby's cup or coffee mug. And I am just chilling in the tiny studio. I hope that you are having a fantastic week. First of all, I just want to tell everybody who watched my last video where I talked about how I am disenchanted and I'm leaving YouTube and probably social media altogether. Thank you so much for commenting. I haven't gotten a chance to get back to all of your comments, but I have read them and most definitely I have taken them to heart. So thank you so much for all of your kind words. They have been very inspirational to me, and they have most definitely uplifted me. My daughters were very upset. My children, period, were very upset with me when they saw that video because they did not know that I had been thinking about leaving YouTube. But they have been very encouraging and supportive of me, and they want me to continue forward. So, I'm the mama. So we'll see. We'll see. I am a woman of my word, as I said before, which means that I promised you guys some things, and so I will most definitely deliver. But thank you so much for the kind words. I want to thank my children for being very, very supportive and for understanding how their mommy feels. But on the other hand, really being the wind beneath my wings and just encouraging me to continue to fly on and to not give up. And I appreciate that. So, as you see today, I have a canvas in front of me. And I just thought that today, while we're chatting it up, that I would talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the world, and then show you some things that's going on in the tiny studio as far as with me painting. Please do not mind my fingers. I need to take the fingernail polish off. Maybe I should do that first while I'm talking to you, is take this polish off instead of procrastinating. How about that? Because I have my nail bag right here. I have my nail bag. So maybe what I should do is, while I'm chatting it up with you, I'll take this nail polish off, and then, why not? Why not just go ahead and take that stuff off, right? Yes, why not? I mean, we're friends. We're friends, and there's no need to procrastinate or pretend. So let me just take this polish off. But anyhow, and I really despise cheap polish, but this really isn't cheap polish. This was Sally Hansen, and for some reason, well, I know why. It's because my hands have been in water because I've been, washing dishes, cleaning, um, and some other things. I was cleaning the tub the other day. So and I don't use gloves because I'm allergic to latex. And for some reason, the rubber gloves that are not latex, they still make my skin dry and itchy. So I stay away from it. But look, I'm taking off the polish. But anyhow, as I said, thank you so much for your support, and thank you for, the comments were really wonderful, and they made me feel, um, they kind of proved me to be a liar in many respects because, um, obviously, my subscribers are watching, and you guys are enjoying the content. So that's really all that matters, right? And what also matters is that I feel good about what I do. And that's the whole idea, right? Yes, yes. And I started this channel not for um I started this channel because I had a passion for it. And I didn't start the channel because I wanted to be some type of big shot YouTuber. That's not what I started the channel for. And sometimes you can get knocked off track of what your goals really are and what your purpose is. And so, I just need to get realigned a little bit. And I'm still in that process of being realigned. So, you know, anyhow, that's enough. Anyhow, I have a blank canvas here. I just finished a painting that I've been working on for about 2.5 weeks almost, and I just finished putting the varnish on it, so it's sitting up here in a tiny studio waiting. It's drying right now, and that's my second painting. I haven't painted in about, my daughter is 21, probably in about 22 years. My children remember me painting, and they've always asked me, "Mommy, when are you gonna paint again? When are you gonna start painting?" And I've always been like, I'll get to. I'll get to. I just, I haven't been interested that much in it, and for some reason, the painting bug came around again and bit me, and And this time I said, okay, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to indulge myself. And that's one thing about being an artist and a multimedia type of artist is that, you go through different phases, and sometimes you want to do it all, but you cannot possibly do it all. And so, while I'm waiting for the crochet mojo to come back, I said, well, let me start playing around with colors and design, and maybe that will stimulate my crojo mojo, my crochet mojo to come back around again. And I've already started ordering up yarn because the fall winter season is right around the corner, and I usually get orders for scarves around that time, around October. And so I want to make sure I have a good inventory already, and I've been checking my stash to see what I have on tap as of now. And so it's not bad. I have a pretty good stash, and I used to keep my stash right here, but um, dust started getting into my yarn, and what dust does, it degrades the fiber, and so I had to put my yarn away. So right now I have a junky shelf that I have to get to, but as I said, I will not be doing anything with that shelf until Wednesday. And by the time you see this video, it will be I'm recording this video on Tuesday, so you'll see this video on Wednesday, and you'll be saying to yourself, "Hey, Nell, you should be cleaning up that you should be cleaning that shelf today." But actually, I'm filming this on Tuesday. There's another video that was uploaded today on the channel, and it's half double crochet. So if you're interested in learning that technique, which is a basic crochet technique, that video is up on the channel right now. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about painting and the things that I'm doing in the tiny studio. Right now I have a blank canvas, and I'm going to take the plastic off of it. I have it sitting on top of my desktop or tabletop easel right now, and I love this easel. Oh my God. I just love it so much. Let me take the plastic off of this. I thought I had scissors. Okay, here we go. Okay, so first things first about canvases. There are so many type of canvases that you can purchase from your local hobby store, drafting supply store, art supply store. So many different types of canvases, but this canvas is a basic canvas. I purchased it from Michael's, and it's a canvas that is I would say it's not necessarily a cheap canvas, but in many respects it kind of is a cheap canvas. I did not spend over $40 for it, And what I mean by that is I purchased, maybe, I think it came in a collection of 3. So, uh, which was, okay for me. I don't mind that. And being that I'm just getting started again with painting, I didn't want to just go and just over invest in something. I wanted to you know, get my bearings again as far as painting, and I did not want to break the bank because I have a very bad tendency of of overspending when I really should not do that. And so I've been very cautious about certain things. And this is a regular blank canvas. It's not a cotton canvas. Okay, it's not a cotton canvas or a linen canvas. It's just a regular synthetic canvas that you get from your local hobby or artist supply store. This canvas here it's already been gesso, with GESSO, has already been applied to it. And what gesso it's a gel. And what that gel does is that it saturates into the canvas board. And what that means, and you also use this on your cotton canvases and your linen canvases, and I believe there are some canvases that are made of bamboo. There are many different types of canvases, but you always want to start by prepping your canvas with the gesso. What gesso does is it helps to prepare your canvas for the paint that's about to come, for the magic that's about to happen. And what it does is it helps the paint to adhere to the canvas but not seep through the canvas. So you always want gesso on your canvas. And another great thing about the property of gesso is that it also helps to bring your colors to life, you know, and it keeps the colors of your painting, from fading as well. So it's really good to prepare your canvas with gesso. Now, I don't have any gesso on this. A lot of painters, a lot of artists will also, even though the canvas already comes with gesso on it, they will also use gesso, again onto, and apply it onto the canvas. um you know for the benefits that I said earlier, but just for their own um, self satisfaction, to make sure that there is enough gesso on the canvas so that their painting and so that their artistry will not degrade or so with time or the sunlight or things of that nature. So you can go ahead and apply more gesso on top of a canvas that's already gesso prepped. But and there's nothing wrong with it, but today that's not what I'll be doing. Okay, I will not be doing that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to prep my canvas in another way for painting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a background color to this, because what I have learned so far is that when I'm painting, it's really good not to have the whites of my canvas showing through my painting. And I noticed that in my last painting, there were some areas of white showing, and so I want to cover that up. And the best way to do so is by prepping my canvas, by putting a background color on it. So I'm going to be doing that today. Um, what I wanted to show you is what tools I'll be using today and what I have going on in the tiny studio. Okay, but first of all, I'll show you this because I don't think I'm gonna be using it, but I might use it, but I'm not sure. But I have my palette, and it already has some white paint in it already, acrylic paint. And I used it earlier today because I wanted to paint the edges around the painting that I completed. I wanted to paint around the edges of it, yeah, and then varnish it, and that's what I did. So I still have a little bit of white paint left, but I will not be using that right now. And as a matter of fact, it was too much white paint. So I really hate, I'm going to tell you, I really hate wasting things. So, I'm really thinking about leaving the paint there and saving it for later and putting some saran wrap on it, and then it'll be ready for me to use next time. This red clover tea is good. So right now I have 2 cups of water. And this cup right here of water is where I will be washing my, dipping my brushes in after I apply or apply a color to the canvas. So I have a cup of water here. And then I have another cup of water. I have another cup of water here. You may be saying, well, hey, Nell, it's not really clear. Well, it's not because I have been using it. And after I cleaned one of my brushes from the varnish, that's what that is. That's what that is. That's water that has a little varnish in it. But I have those 2 cups of water. And then next, that's my phone. I have my towel, and like right now I have on my smock. This is a smock that I'm wearing, and you probably seen me wear this before, but this is my tiny studio smock. I have some aprons around here somewhere and I have to find them, and you know, the tiny studio is really tiny, and so I have to figure out where I put my aprons at. They're somewhere around here, but probably I'll have them out sometime next week. Okay, I have a towel. And this is the towel that I use for whenever I'm painting. And I keep that handy. That's why a good apron is always great. But I have a towel here, and I have another towel right here somewhere as well. But I don't know where it's at. Okay, so I am going to apply a background color. I have no idea what that background color is going to be. My mind is screaming yellow, then my mind is also screaming blue. So I don't know what the background color is going to be, but you know, I'll figure it out. What I'll also be using today, let me put this water right here, is I might be using, well, I will be using, I'll be using a flat brush, and these are flats. So I will be using my flat brushes today, and this is an even larger flat. Now I bought these brushes from Michael's, and they're called Artist Loft. And these are some good brushes. They're kind of cheap. I got them in an economy. Oh no, not economy, a value pack. And 2 of my brushes have broken. The heads have come off. And you know, I'm just getting started again, and so I don't mind, you know, the heads brush, you know, the heads falling off and all of that stuff, breaking off and all of that stuff. I don't mind that because I know that these brushes are temporary. But I've already purchased some really good brushes, and so these are this is the Zen collection by Royal and Langnickel. So I have a whole pack of these. These are really good. Okay, this is your filbert. Okay, and this is a filbert as well, smaller filbert. Okay, so my go-to brushes so far, I've noticed that I just, you know, use without a doubt, happens to be my filbert and my flats. These are the brushes that I use. I've noticed that I've used constantly. And you will figure out what your favorite brushes are. There are brushes for angling, you know, there's brushes for fanning. There are many different type of brushes. You have your you have a wash brush. You know, what else you have? You have a quill, you have your spotters, you have all kinds of brushes, but lately These are the brushes that I have been attracted to and that I've been using the most. But you'll figure that out soon, which brushes will be better suited to what you need to do. So let me get my flat out. And when it comes, this is a palette, as a matter of fact. And I've had different kinds of palettes over the years. But what I really dislike about plastic palettes is the fact that if you don't clean them, well, first of all, they're hard to clean. Let me just get that out the way. The plastic palettes are very difficult to clean. And they're messy. So, I don't like that, because the tiny studio is tiny and I don't like a big mess. But I use this palette from time to time because, it doesn't have, I only have the white color in it, so that's fine. I don't have a whole bunch of other colors in it. And for me, it's really not great for mixing colors. Now, I've used this other palette. Where is it? And this is the palette that I've used the most. And it's called palette paper. Okay, palette paper. And this is what it looks like. It's a palette, but it's paper. And what makes this so unique for me in a tiny studio is the fact that I can mix colors on this. Yes, most definitely. I can keep colors for a long period of time. They stay wet on this particular palette. And then it doesn't seep through. So if I take a sheet of this palette paper and I put it on my workbench, the paint doesn't seep through the paper, which means it's not going to get on my workbench, which is a plus, plus, plus for me. So I like palette paper. I really do. And I can mix colors with this palette paper. It's really good. I purchased this from Michael's, and it's the Artist Loft brand. And it's pretty good. It's not bad at all. I really, really like it. What does it say? It says it offers a neutral background for viewing colors. It has a smooth coated surface and it's non-absorbent. It's disposable for easy cleanup and suitable for all paint types. And so the disposable for easy cleanup is a winner for me, because what did I just say about this? It's hard to clean and you have to clean it. You have to clean it. And so this is easy cleanup because when I'm done, I just fold the paper up and then I put it in the trash. Now, it's one thing that I have noticed about using the paper palette is that when I'm mixing colors, I need to take notes and make sure what it was that I mixed with what to get the color that I desire. So that means that if I want to continue with the same color on a painting, that means I need to write down exactly what I wrote and then toss it if I'm using the palette paper. I'm thinking about getting a really I'm thinking about getting a baking sheet, a baking tray, a small baking tray, and I've seen a few other artists do this as well, using a baking tray as a palette. And then when I mix my colors using parchment paper, using the parchment paper as the palette paper, and mixing the colors, and then when I finish, putting saran wrap on top of it and putting it away, because from what I understand, that helps keep your colors. And it all I have to do is, when I want to go back to it and use it again, I could just spray some water on it and then I'll be good to go. That's what I've been learning. And so probably this weekend I'm going to pick it up, and then I won't really have to use this anymore. I'll probably give it to my daughter, and the palette paper, I'll probably keep that anyway because I really like the palette paper. I really like that. So let me put my tea up here. So let me grab some colors. One of the things that I have learned so far is that when I used to paint many years ago, I'm a color person, so I always felt that I needed to have a lot of colors. So I had all kinds of paint colors. I had a whole thing of colors of paint, and I would use them, and I never really thought about mixing, only occasionally of mixing colors, because I had like a whole thing of colors, and unlimited refunds. I mean, unlimited resources, unlimited funds. But don't tell my husband I said that. But what I what I realized is that you don't need a whole bunch of color, a whole bunch of paint. You only need your primary colors, and so you only need blue, uh, yellow, red, white, black. That's it. Because you can make every color you want from those primary colors. You can make purple, you can make orange, you can make different shades of orange, you can make yellow, different shades of yellow, different shades of blue. You can make just a plethora green, different shades of green. You can make all of those colors from just having your primary colors. So what I am slowly doing is I am slowly preparing myself to move from the basic colors or the basic paints, acrylic paints. I'm slowly moving myself over to more artist grade paints or heavy mediums of paint, because what I've been learning so far is that with the student paint, which is great and affordable, um, is that the pigment is not strong enough and or heavy enough. And what I need is a heavy pigment in my paint, because a heavier pigment goes a longer way. A heavier pigmented paint goes a long way when you are, creating or painting, because of the pigmentation. When you're dealing with a student grade or basic paint, the pigmentation is not that. The level of pigmentation is not enough. So I'm slowly preparing to switch over to a more professional grade paint. And it's going to be more expensive. So I'm only going to be buying maybe a tube or two at a time. Michael's has a great sale. They have this buy one, get one for 50% off. And I think that's the route that I'm going to go. I'm going to start off with um, titanium white. I'm going to also get a two. I'm probably going to do it like this, which will be four. So titanium white, and then get another titanium white for 50% off, and then a red, and then probably two tubes of red, because I have a lot of the other colors and I want to start off with the primary colors. So I think that I am going to use the background color of blue. Let me see if I can find it. I have been using Liquitex basic acrylics, and I don't have a problem with Liquitex, but I will be purchasing the professional Liquitex for artists, and I was also looking at, I think it's called Winston, and that will be what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my blue paint. I know you're like, Leah, what's all that noise? Okay, so here's my blue. It's cerulean blue. So I'm thinking about covering the canvas in cerulean blue, but I don't have a lot of it. But I have a lot of this bluish gray. And see, that's the thing with this. This says bluish gray. Now, I could have made this color myself. I could have made this myself. What is that? Bluish gray. That's probably just this color with a little, I want to say a little white, but maybe a little white with some blue, not blues, a little white with with some black to it. I probably would have came up with this, you know. Um, and like this color right here, which is like a fluorescent pink. This is cute, but I could have just made a pink, you know, and then got a fluorescent medium with or fluorescent gel, and then I would have had this. I didn't need to buy this. Or just like I didn't need to buy the brilliant purple. I didn't need to buy that. I could have made this. So do you understand where I'm coming from when I talk about colors and paints? You can really make all the colors yourself. You don't need to spend that type of money because all you need to do is just get your basic primary colors. And if you stay invested in your basic primary colors, then you can make every color of the rainbow, you know, just by, you know, staying, you know, keeping the primary colors in your tiny studio. And that's the lesson that I've learned. But you know me, I love pinks and purples, don't I? I do. But that's not to say that if there's a color that you really like that you shouldn't have it. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm also saying that when you're starting out, be conscious of your coins. You know, there's so many things that so many colors that you can create with just your primary colors. So what you should do, and my advice is, and what I've been doing is I've been going over color theory again. And colors, you know, like I'm a crocheter. And you know, I love putting different colors together. But when I first started crocheting, I had issues on what colors go with what, you know, and so I had to get back to studying color theory, which is really important. It's something that we talked about when we learned in elementary school and in middle school. Well, that's where I remember a lot of discussion about color theory happening for me was in elementary and middle school. Shout out to Longfellow Middle School. But yeah, I really didn't need these, but they're pretty. So I think that I am going to use, well, it seems like the blue and the gray is really not that much of it. Let's see. Let some of that air out so I can see. Okay. So I think I'm just going to paint my background blue. And maybe that's what I should do. I should just go ahead and order blue as well. But more than likely, I'll just get the, I don't know, I'll see. Because, you know, when you're talking about hobbies and crafts, that can, you know, you can spend some money on your crafts because there's so many things to choose from. And what happens is that we go to the store and we go to our local hobby store and we say, look, it's so many colors, you know, so many colors, so many different things, so many, you know, so many items to choose from. And you're just like, hey, I want it all. I want it all, and I want to, you know, I want to build up my paint stash. And it's kind of like with yarn. You see all the yarn in the yarn department, the yarn aisle. Well, I know it, I can only speak for myself. You see all the beautiful yarn and the different colors, and you say to yourself, well, hey, I want this and I want that, and that will look so nice. And you start thinking about projects that you could projects that you could possibly make with this yarn and the colors, and you just get inspired, you know. And that's what happens to me when I'm at stores like Hobby Lobby, or I'm at Michael's or Joann's or something like that. And especially this time when I was at Michael's in the paint section, because I was like, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could get this, I could get that, I could do this, I could do that. You know, I could just have this right here for whatever, you know, I might need this in the future, and I could do this one day, and you know, and then my husband would be like, girl, what you doing? The money is flying out of my wallet. What you doing? And then I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me put this back. Let me put that back. That's not right. You know, but I'm going to tell you one thing. My husband is very supportive. And over the weekend, he likes to make he makes model cars and planes and boats. That's what he likes to do. So over the weekend, he looked like he had some soldiers, it looked like, and he was painting them. So you know, once you have a creative person in your household and they see you doing one thing, and you know, it inspires them to you know, to be creative too. And that's what you want. So you may be saying, Nell, what are you doing? If you're just joining me, you may be saying, Nell, what are you doing? Well, what I'm doing is I am painting the background of this canvas. I'm painting the entire canvas one color. And after I do that, then probably sometime tomorrow, I will go back over it with the actual design of what I'm planning. But right now I am working on painting my canvas, the background of it, because I don't want any white surfaces to seep through my painting. Now, like my other two paintings, I noticed that when I completed them, that there were some areas where you could actually see the white of the canvas. And so I don't want that to happen this time around. This time around, I want to make sure that I have the white completely covered. Now, the only white that you'll probably see in the final painting, it will be because I added it, not because it was already there. So that's why I'm covering the canvas right now with the color blue. And I like this color. This is called what? Cerulean blue? I think this is called cerulean blue. Now, I love abstract painting, and I have, just doing this, painting the background blue, I have an idea as to what I could do with this, you know? I have an idea. And that's one of the wonderful things about painting that I find that I enjoy so much about it. It's because, you know, so many different ideas appear to you, because painting is such a relaxing, to me, and my husband said this too, painting is such a relaxing thing. Even when we as a family were painting my youngest daughter's bedroom, it was so relaxing. It wasn't just a task. It was something, it was fun because the whole family, we were all together painting on the tiny studio sister's bedroom. But it, for me, it's relaxing. And it gets, for me, it gets the creative juices flowing. I have, with this blue background, I have a pretty good idea of what I would like the design to be. I consider myself to be a geometric abstract artist, and so, which means I love shapes. I love color and I love shapes. So I have an idea as to what this canvas could be. Okay, let me add some more blue to this. Now, had I been using a heavy or professional grade paint, then I would not have needed to go back and, to get more paint, because the professional grade, a little would have went a long way. Now, by the time you're watching this episode of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio, hopefully Congresswoman Nicole Collier out of the 9th District in Texas, hopefully she will have been released from the Senate chambers in Texas. Because the Democrats went back to, the Texas Democrats went back to, some of them went back home yesterday. And when they arrived, they were forced to sign a so-called permission slip. And that slip was basically saying that they would not leave the state again. And then after they signed that so-called permission slip, then they were also told that they would have to have 24/7 police what do I want to say? Police, they would have to have a police unit attached to them, okay, until the next special session occurred, which means that police unit would have been, that police unit or police detail would be on them to prevent them from leaving town. So that's what they had to sign and agree to. And Nicole Collier said, I'm not doing that. She said, y'all not going to do that to me. You're not going to treat me as if I am first of all, you're not going to treat me like a criminal, because basically that's what it is. And she said, you're not going to treat me like a criminal. You're not going to treat me like a child. And you're definitely not going to treat me like a slave. Because remember, back in the days of the antebellum days, Black people were not allowed to leave the plantation without having permission or papers. And those papers were passes that allowed them to move around off the plantation. If you didn't have your papers, then you get jacked up really bad. And so what Republicans in the Texas Congress, what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep the Democrats around in the state so they can have this special session or this quorum so they can go ahead and redistrict or make a new map, so that at the behest of President Trump, because he wants 5 new seats. And the Republican Party, at this point in time, They don't really have a mind of their own. They just do whatever, whatever Trump suggests that they do or tells them to do. So Trump said, find me 5 seats. And Governor Abbott said, okay, I'm going to find those seats for you. And I'm actually going to steal those seats. Because see, what's going to happen is with this redistricting, what's going to happen is that you start to push out Black representation. Now, did you know that Texas is a majority African American state? Did you know that? But ask me how many Black people represent, how many African Americans are represented in Congress by Black Congress people. And then answer this question for me. With this new redistricting and lining of the maps, how many Black Congress people in Texas will be in Congress after this? After Governor Abbott redoes the maps and does this redistricting. After this happens, how many Black people will Texas have in Congress? And I can answer that question for you. None. Which is the whole idea. It's the whole idea. None. So you would think that a state that is majority African American, you would think that at least they would have representation. And that's what this whole situation is about. It's about getting rid of African American representation, getting rid of people like Jasmine Crockett, because she is vocal about what's going on in Washington. And so since she is vocal about it, she represents a threat. She is problematic. And what's also problematic is that when the midterms come, okay, Trump could find himself without a majority in Congress. So to keep that from happening, he asks Greg Abbott over in Texas to do some gerrymandering and to get rid of Jasmine Crockett because she's a problem. Get rid of Jasmine, and then while you at it, take everybody else out too. And so that's what's happening. You have to forgive my little turkey wing down here. I have lost 150 pounds and I have hanging skin everywhere. I'm hoping to lose more. That's my plan. That's not my plan. That's what I'm going to do. So as you see, I've covered this board, this canvas. And I see some white spaces, so let me get in those white spaces. Because when I get ready to start working on it, I don't want to see any white spaces at all. I don't want any type of white coming through. And another reason why this is a really good method to do is because it adds dimension. And that's what you want. You want dimension. You want layers. That's what brings a painting to life. It's the dimension, the layers. It gives it a really cool, I want to say 3D effect. That's what I want to say. But I really think that if I had the professional grade paint, I would not have, I don't think I would have used as much of this blue cerulean paint as I have. Trying to see. Okay, can you see any more? I see some white. Do you see any white spots? I really should have my hair. I usually have my hair pent up when I am painting. But, you know, I got on camera today trying to look cute. So, let's just hope that I don't get any paint in my hair. I had my glasses on the other day, so I had paint all over my glasses. But here I am trying to be on camera and look cute. So hopefully I don't have any paint in my hair. Okay, I don't see any more white spots. Let's see. So what did you learn today? Oh, so anyhow, by the time this video uploads, it will be Wednesday. So I am hoping that Congresswoman Nicole Collier has been released from the Senate floor up in Texas, because from what I understand, she slept there, and people have been bringing her food and water, things like that. But you know, it should not be mandatory for anyone to have to sign that paper. And you know, I really think that is just unnecessary. I mean, if the folks came back to town, they came back to town. Tethering them to the state of Texas is just ridiculous. Tethering them like they're some type of criminal is just insane to me. Not giving them options, not giving them a choice. Grown people who were elected to their position by the people, they should not have to go through that. She should not have to go through that. It don't make any sense. Oh, did I, by the way, tell you that I got the results back from from the MyHeritage DNA test? Did I tell you about that? No. How about we get into that on the next episode of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio? We'll get into that, the results. I think I got all the white spaces. So do you remember why I said I was covering the canvas in blue? Do you remember? Okay, the most important reason why I am covering this canvas right now in blue, I'm really prepping my canvas for painting. And you may say, how is that, Nell? Well, I am covering all of the white because I do not want 1 inch of white to show through on my canvas or in my painting. I don't want to see any white at all. That's number one. Number two is this will add dimension and depth and layers to my final painting, to the final completion of my painting. And that's what I want. I want depth. I want layers. And I want to give it a nice 3D dimension. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the 3D dimension or effect, but I would most definitely not have any of my canvas, the white of my canvas, seeping through my work. Okay, so I have covered the canvas. I don't see any more white. So that's good. I'll let you guys see next. Okay. All right, so what do you think? I don't see any more. I don't see any white spots. I see wet spots, but I don't see any. Okay, there is a spot there. Okay, get in there. Okay. I don't see any more white spots. Do you see any white spots? I don't see any. And I've used up all of the blue. So I think that I've done a great job. I'm using my desktop easel. Put it in the water. All right, that looks good to me. I see a little spot right there. Let me use this brush, this small flat brush, and get in the corner. I need a little bit of blue. Okay, got it. Can you guys see? Okay, I got that. And that's why I say I'm going to have to really consider getting a more professional upgrade of my paint, because a little bit of paint will go a long way. Because the professional grade will have acrylic paint will have more pigmentation in it. But this is pretty good. So I am thinking that I'm more than likely going to use various shades of blue, maybe some purple on this. I don't know, maybe some greens. I'm really liking this blue. This is called cerulean blue. I remember the first time I really found out or discovered what cerulean blue was. And of course, you know, say it with me, the devil wears Prada. I mean, the way Miranda broke down how the fashion industry works. And then she said, you probably picked that little cerulean blue sweater up at the bottom of a bin. What store did she say? That was hilarious. And then she closed, you know, you have the audacity to think that you're better than us. And we're the ones that basically dictate what you wear. And she was absolutely correct. Can't wait to see Devil Wears Prada 2. They're already filming. That's going to be outstanding. I'm so excited to see it. Okay, so I believe that I have covered the entire canvas. So there is no white seeping through. And so the next time you catch me in a tiny studio and I'm painting, then I will show you the progress that I will have made on this canvas here. So I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining me today on this extended episode of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for supporting me. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please do not hesitate to jump down in the comment section and let your voice be heard, child. And then also think about becoming a sustainable member. I'm in the Tiny Studio Lounge, which is a members only lounge. I'm in there maybe 3 times a month, and I sit there and chat about different things going on in my life, and that I really don't talk about here, but I do in the Tiny Studio Lounge. So come over and hang out with me there. There will be a link to help you to be able to join the Tiny Studio Lounge with me and other sustainable members. So I'm your girl Nell, and I will catch you on the flip side, as my son would say. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you have not already subscribed, you know what to do. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.